shebang. Okay. So there we have the Polk workbench set up. Now, watch this. See, now I have an outfeed table for my table saw, plus a workbench. And yes, Eddie Grego, that's the same table saw that I had in New Orleans. I had to replace the switch, which a couple of the leads were pointed differently than the original switch. That's why I just left it hanging out. But there you go. Okay, I just heard somebody ask, why in this world is that workbench top full of holes? This is why. See that? Anywhere on here, I can clamp down whatever I'm working on so it doesn't move. Now, you can buy a clamp that's made specifically for this, and they're quite expensive actually. So what I did is I went to Lowe's and I bought, it's either a 4-pack or 2 2-packs, I forget. Anyway, I got 4 of them. And you know, this is the quick clamp. It has one of these on the other end. I discarded that and I cut the end, turned it up and welded it and made a hook. So I've got probably the cost of one of the factory clamps in 4. I've got 4 of these. So, you know, just use a little ingenuity. Okay, so I've been down to the building and got measurements on what I need, and I'm going to do the sidewalls first. Number 1, because everything's the same length, so it's just straight cuts. And because the material I'll be using is cut from 12-foot material, and as luck would have it, all of our 12-foot material is right on top. So I've got 6 sheets that's 4 by 12. As I move the camera, I'm going to try to not get my thumb over the microphone. Okay, so one problem I've been running into is having to trim the width of the sheets a little bit because the last project that I worked on, if you had a 4 by whatever the length, 4 foot was the nominal measurement. Okay, the actual measurement was 47 3/4. Hence, it was 1/4 of an inch shy of the full width. So that's the measurement that I've been working with in planning out all the sizes. And so when I got this load, we find that the nominal measurement is the actual measurement. And so this is why that I've been having to work and trim all these down. So anyway, I have to do the same thing with all these wall panels. So I'm going to stack them over there on the workbench that I just made, just set up. And I've got 6 sheets, so I'm going to cut them 3 at a time. I don't want to, it stretches the saw to cut through more than 2 inches, and that's what 6 sheets thickness is, right at 2 inches. So I'll do them 3 at a time, cut them in half, cut them to length. And again, the reason I set this up, I'll do the trimming of the width on the table saw, which will greatly expedite the process. Okay, this same technique we've been using, just using a smaller version of the 8-foot long cutoff guide, or if you're left-handed, the 8-foot is a larger version of this one. Anyway, same technique, stacked 3 together, and we're going to cut them off. And so we just measure from the other end, turn the guide around, and cut these off. So now we have enough pieces cut to length for one side wall. Okay, so I know the measurement I need for the first panel on the width is 47 inches. So I set up my fence, and because we're cutting off what we don't need, then we have to measure to the opposite side of the blade. And so we set it 7/8 of an inch. I don't know if that'll focus on that or not. But anyway, 7/8 of an inch. The blade takes 1/8 of an inch kerf. All the pieces of aluminum, vertical pieces, they're all the same length. They all get a square cut. The only variable is the piece of single H that goes across the bottom. So this is just a lot of repetitious cutting. All right, I've got all my double H tracks cut to length. And so all I'm doing here is lining them all up so I can mark them all at once. See, I just laid the square back in there. I've got these stacked together inside each other, and I just laid the square in the track, and then just tap on a little bit, and that way they're all lined up. And then I can just mark across all of them like this. All right, now we'll go to the drill press. And so I transferred the measurements of the double H over onto the single H, and going ahead and drilling those out as well. I'll tell you what I did here. So I screwed this piece of metal down first, and then slipped the panel into it. So I have to slip it up under the groove we made in the fascia board. And the problem I'm having is I can't get down the bottom to hammer it up and hold the top in at the same time. So here's a little trick you can do. If you see what I've done here, I've got a lever. That way I can put my foot on it, put a little pressure on it while I push it in at the top. There it is. And then I need my screw locate just to, for me, I want to keep my screws in a straight line just for cosmetic purposes. So obviously I forgot my hammer. There's the first panel, and the rest of it is repetition. Now I have to take the brace down. Now let's go back to science class. Instead of tugging and grunting and pulling on that stake trying to get it out of the ground, just put a fulcrum under it. You there? Ow, that screw's hot. What I'm having to do here is pre-drill these holes here, because if I run this number 10 screw into the edge of this little build-out strip, it'll just split out, so I drilled a hole. Yeah, I thought I'd show you what it looked like from the inside. So we got the one wall up, and you can see up overhead. But the other side wall goes on exactly the same way. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time to do a repeat on that. In the next video, we'll start on these ends, and I'll show you some tricks about cutting these angles. Thank you for watching.